Hello and thanks for joining me today. So this is part 9 in our RHCSA hands-on lab series. So the previous video was on the objective of manage users and groups, and that was part 8. So today we're going to look at manage security, and for that we've got questions that we're going to walk through, and this is essentially doing things with SSH and SELinux for HTTP web server. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, turn on the notification, give a thumbs up, share with anyone who you know might benefit from this. Let's get started. So the first task is asking us to generate SSH key on node 1. I have UTM as usual running, and I've got node 1 and 2, even though we just need node 1 for this. So I'll try to get into node 1, as in SSH into node 1 just now. This task is asking for us to generate SSH key for key-based authentication. So for now, I can SSH into node 1 as a normal user and specify the IP. I think the IP address of node 1 is somewhere, yes, here. I can just use the IP and specify the IP. If you're provided with the host name instead in your exam, then that's what you should use. So because for now we do not have any key-based authentication enabled, it's going to ask us for a password, and yes, that's the password for node 1 I just entered. Now the task is for us to generate an SSH key on this node and set up key-based authentication. So what key-based authentication would do is allow us to SSH without asking for a password, and that's if we've generated a key, SSH key on the server, and we've copied our own from the client side, copy our own SSH key to the server. We'll see how that's going to work. But now let me elevate my privilege, privilege to root. So password. So the command is simple. To generate an SSH key, you do ssh-keygen. So ssh-keygen, yes. So it's going to ask you. It's generating enter file in which to save the key. By default, it's going to save it in the home directory. That's slash the root directory /root. .ssh id underscore RSA. This is the file that's going to be generated for authentication. It's saving it here because I am logged in. I'm currently a root user. Any user you log in as and generate a SSH key, it should be in the home directory of the user. So just hit enter. Passphrase, if you want to use a passphrase for that, it improves, it adds a layer of security, but that's optional. Hit enter. Repeats again, and that's all. So now the key has been generated. So where do you find your key? You see this location here. Yes, this is the public key, and this the private key. The public key is the key you give out to other people. You give it's a key pair. So private key is yours. Never share that with anyone. Public key, you can share that, put that on the server and use to authenticate anytime you want to connect to the server. So let's check that location. It should be, let's ls-al here. So you see that's .ssh. That's the directory where the keys we just generated are. So if I cd into .ssh and ls, you can see we have two files, the id underscore RSA and id underscore RSA pub. So id underscore RSA pub is the public key, as I did say, and then this the private key. So that's us done. We've generated the key. So to set up key-based authentication, this is the server. Since we're on the server, we need to be able to copy our key from any client. So it can be any client. Copy our keys from any client to the server so that we can SSH to the server without being prompted for a password. Remember when I SSH into this server as this user Hadoga, I was asked for a password. So that's what we are trying to avoid. So key-based authentication. So enable SSH root login and test your configuration. While I am here, I can just enable SSH key login. So let me elevate. So to enable SSH key login is simple. You just modify the SSH config file. So I'm going to use Vim. Vim, the file is etc ssh ssh then ssh d config. That's the file we're going to modify. What you're looking for is where it says permit root login, because by default root login is root SSH. For a root login via SSH is not allowed. It's not permitted. So what we should do is look for, since I'm on Vim, I'm using / to search for permit. It's even there, permit root login. Yes, so that's me. The press I enter, that's insert, and clear that. What you need to do is to say, it says here prohibit password. What you want to write there is yes. So permit root login, yes. Write this and quit. So it is a good idea to restart sshd, that's the daemon, after making this change, sshd. So systemctl restart sshd. System, what did I miss? Oh, retard. System ssh restart restart sshd. Yes. So now remember, we need to, we have now enabled root ssh. That's root. For the root user, we need to allow the root to be able to SSH. We've just done that. So let's get out of the server completely. Now I am out completely. This is I am on my Mac right now. Let me clear this. I am now on my MacBook, and the server is a VM running on this Mac, UTM, right? What we want to do is to be able to SSH into that server, SSH into, where is it, UTM, SSH into node 1 as root without being prompted for a password. And how we do that is to copy our SSH key. I have my SSH key on my Mac. So if I cd, okay, or I can ls .ssh id underscore rsa.pub. Yes, so you can see that this file I have, this is my the public key on this MacBook. I want to copy this public key to the remote, to the server. So this can be any VM. So if it's on your exam and you have a VM that requires SSH key being generated, then you generate that SSH key as I've shown you, and then you copy that to any server that you're being asked to copy. So just see this as another machine, just another machine. So what I need to do now is SSH copy-id. So the ID I want to copy, I can specify. You can just do SSH copy-id, but it's good practice to specify, because sometimes you might be copying, you might have multiple SSH keys. So it's good practice to specify what ID you're trying to copy. So SSH ID, the file I want to copy is my public key, and I want to copy that to a particular destination, and that destination is as user root at this IP. That's the IP of node 1 at this IP. So the syntax is simple. This is the command you're copying, and this is file you're specifying. I'm copying my public key to this server. That's it. And as this user, as user root. So hit enter. It's going to ask for the password of the root user on the remote server on node 1. So the password is password. and that's it. Now you can see keys that have been number of keys added. One key has been added to this remote server, and then you can see it says here, now try logging into the machine with this. So just SSH and specify this. So I can just say SSH root at, that's the IP address of the remote server, 168.70.10. If you have been given a host name rather than an IP address, just use that essentially. So SSH, now it should let us SSH as root without asking for a password. Hopefully, if we did everything right. Enter. Yes, and that's it. So we are now we are on node 1 as a root user, and we are not being asked for a password. This is good practice in production environments, not necessarily as root, but being able to do key-based authentication. And I think on platforms like GitHub, they've stopped accepting key-based, password-based authentication for a long time now. So you have to learn how to generate your SSH key and learn how to copy it to a remote server for production environments as well. So yes, that's us done. So it says SSH and check your config. So checking is just being able to SSH without being prompted for a password. So as I said, I am doing this from my MacBook to the VM. This can be from any machine, just 2 machines you have. Generate a SSH key on one, and you can copy to another machine and connect. So the second question here is HTTP server troubleshooting with SELinux. So the task here is that we have a web server that is running on node 1, that's on this node, and it is listening on, let me where is this terminal? Yes, it is listening on port 85. So ensure that the website is reachable via that port. So if the web server, let me minimize this completely. I don't think we need that. So yes, it's listening on port 85. What we need to do is check if HTTPD is there, if it's running. So the task is for us to be able to access that website or access the server. We can either use call or open a web browser and try to connect to the server. So first, you need to understand that the default port number that HTTPD listens on is 80. And if that's been changed, then you need to do something with SELinux to let it know that, hey, HTTPD isn't listening on port 80 anymore as it should. So that's why you need to handle this task. So let me clear my screen. If we try to restart, let's say system, or enable, even let's just start systemctl, systemctl, I want to start HTTPD. So let's see if HTTPD is even there. But since there's no error so far, I think it's trying to start. It's hanging. It shouldn't take this long, but then it means something is wrong, as well as we've been, as we can see here. That's it. So it says this failed because it's not going to start the error anyways. The control process exited with an error code. So how do we check this? What HTTPD is listening on? The HTTPD config file is let's look at the file. We can either cat or vim, but we can use anyone. Since so HTTPD conf, then we have httpd.conf. so this is the configuration file. So if I hit enter, I can look for listing. So it's listening on port 85. That's fine. Mind you, on the exam, you don't have to look for what port is listening on. You're already been told. You just focus on doing SELinux things. The port that we need to add is port 85. Add that to SELinux. So what do I mean? If I do SEManage port, SEManage port -l, I am listing the ports, and then I want to look for HTTP, anything that has HTTP. So if I hit enter, you can see what you're looking for is HTTP port. So HTTP port. If you see the TCP port, these are the ports that the web server can run on. So 80, which is the default, then there's 81 there, 443 for HTTPS. We do not have 85 here, and that's a problem. So we can say man se manage port. So if I hit enter, you can see that it says se manage port. So SELinux policy management port mapping. What we are looking for, you can read about this and see what you need to do. For example, -a to add, and -m to modify. But to save time, you can look for examples. So if I say example, you scroll down. Yes, so the example here we've got is the first one, list all ports. So if you do SEManage port -l, which we've used and grepped for HTTP previously, now we want to allow Apache to listen on TCP port 81, for example, right? And then this is the command. So SEManage port, we want to -a add, the type is HTTP port _t, and then we want to do the protocol is TCP. So now this is what we are trying to do. So just copy this, quit the man page, bring that here, and the port that we need is port 85. That's it. Hit enter. We've added that already. So now we can SEManage again, SEManage port -l, and look for HTTP and see if port 85 is there. Perfect. You can see port 85 is one of the ports. So now with port 85 added, we should be able to check. Let's see if firewall-cmd is blocking anything, since the default port is supposed to be port 80, but we're working with port 85. Let's see. So firewall-cmd -- list all. So services, you can see that HTTP is not here, and the ports, we don't have any ports here. We don't have ports 80 or 85, but we need port 85 TCP. This is just in case you add the port. You've added the port allowed on SELinux, and you're still unable to connect. But I am just doing this just in case, just so you know what to check for, when things don't work. So now let's add our port. So firewall cmd add port. So the port we want to add is 85, and it's TCP. Yes, we want to do that permanently. So permanent, that's successfully added. Let's add the protocol itself. So add the service itself. Add service. The service we want to add is HTTP, and we want to do that permanently. So if you do that, you have to restart firewall-cmd. So reload firewall-cmd -- reload. Now we can check again to see firewall-cmd list all to see what ports we have. So we have TCP 85 and we have HTTP. So HTTP is listing on port 85. So firewall, we don't have any problems with firewall, and we've added the port on firewall-cmd on SELinux. So what we need to do now is restart HTTP. So systemctl restart HTTPD. So hit enter. Let's see if HTTPD is restarted successfully with no errors. Then we should be able to connect. So let's see. So with HTTP D restarted, we should be able to do systemctl. Let's enable systemctl, enable now HTTPD. So that's done. What else do we need to do? That's all. So systemctl, let's see the status of HTTPD. You see now HTTPD, we've got the status, it's running, and it's listening on port 85. Server configured listening on port 85. That's perfect. It should work now for us. So the test for us here to do is to either use call server IP, or we use a web browser to. So either should do, but let's even do both. So HTTP, but what's the IP address of this server? So let's ifconfig to see what's the IP address. The IP address is this. So what I'll do now is HTTP call HTTP 192.168.70.10. So hit enter. Of course, I need to specify the port because it's listening on port 85. Not if it were port 80, you can see that connection to connect, fail to connect to this IP on port 80. That's the default because we do not specify the port number. So hit enter. That's it. This is the default page of the web server page, HTTPD page, if you installed newly. But what we can do is to also use a browser and specify the same. So just new tab HTTP yes colon then the IP address. Where's the IP? Let me grab the IP. It's this. So colon hit enter, and we specify the port number we want is 85. That's it. That's us essentially. That's us done. So we now have the server listening on port 85, and it's working. That's us done. So that's it for this video. I would like to thank you for watching. The next video would be on managed containers, and that will be the final video in this RHCSA series. So that should cover creating a container image and creating a container as systemd service as a rootless container, and being able to map your host files into the container files and vice versa. We'll get to see that in the next video. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe, turn on the notification, share with anyone you know would benefit from this, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.